A record that I think is perfectly apt for this whole situation right here as we broadcast from Suncebeat in Croatia, number 8. Bringing the family back together. It's growing each and every year. People congregate here to party to some of their favourite DJs in the whole world. Annual event put together by Mr. Alex Lowe's. We're going to be speaking to him very soon. We say we're putting the family back, bringing the family back. We meet a lot of new family as well. I've got a young lady here next to me that basically I met whilst watching Rich Medina do his thing in what we call the Olive Grove tent, playing pure hip hop. And Lee was next to me, sort of head bopping and getting into it. And I was like, hello, and got to speak. And you basically told me what you're doing as far as production. So first of all, Lee, welcome to you.
Thank you, Ronnie. It was a pleasure meeting you. I saw you grooving the Spinna and Rich Medina behind the stage there, and I had to say hello.
Oh well, listen, I'm glad you did, because obviously you've told me this, the story of what you're doing as far as production and your DJing as well as that. So first of all, Lee, where are you from, and how did you start making music?
Sure. I'm originally from Vancouver, Canada, actually. I live in New York. I live in Brooklyn now. I started producing music about 5 years ago, but actually it goes back, my musical journey goes back a long way. I actually was, I created the first dance and club music culture magazine in Canada that went nationwide about 20 years ago.
Okay.
And I'm also a soul gospel singer, so I've been singing for about 10 years. And I was really interested at first in doing vocals for dance music, and I was going to Winter Music Conference every year. And then I realized that I really wanted to write music myself after working with a few different people.
Okay, and you've been doing a lot of remix work as well. You've got a crew that are called Exemplary Music Makers. Is that right?
Yes, I've released on a few different labels, Soundman on Wax, Open Bar Music, Exemplary Music Makers, and I did Tortured Souls remix of Tortured Souls' last first release. Exemplary Music Makers is a fantastic New York-based label run by Music Man Edition, and the track that you'd asked me about earlier was a James Brown remix that I was in collaboration that I was invited to do with Music Man Edition and Saheed Muhammad.
Okay, so we're gonna hear that in a minute. But what I wanted to know as well was, how did you hear about Suncebeat? Is this your first Suncebeat?
This is my second Suncebeat.
Second Suncebeat, and how did you hear about it?
Well, I was following Southport Weekender for many years.
Right.
And so I had always wanted to make my way out to Croatia, and last year was the first year.
I can't believe it's the first time we've met then, because obviously, I've been here for 8 years.
I was probably being shy last year
because
I spent years listening to you, sir, on the radio from Canada, because I needed to get a taste of soul.
Right.
Soulful house music is not that common in Western Canada. On the West Coast, you get a different sound, and it's a different tapestry of sort of DJs and musicians and producers from that part of the world. They have a different vibe. But the East Coast, you get real soul. You get and also, of course, in the UK, you get some really great, fantastic soulful house artists.
Okay, and the record that we're about to play, it's your take on a James Brown classic. It's A Man's World. Tell us why you decided to do that.
Well, part of it was, the idea came from Music Man Edition and Exemplary Music Makers that approached me to do one of the remixes. And the idea was to have 3 different artists and 3 different producers remix it and give it a different vibe. I love the late night vibe, like music that almost soothes you and makes you not want to go home. So, and it keeps you, it's the music captivates you at 4 a.m. in the morning. And, your feet may be tired as hell. You may be like, just you're done. You don't want to talk to anybody anymore. But sometimes you just cannot leave. And so I wanted to give it a really deep house vibe, and that was the energy and thought that I had behind it.
Well, listen, we're going to hear it now. Just before we go, just let everybody know how they can get in touch with you and your music, how they can hear your music, how they can get your music. If they like this vibe, go for it.
The best way would be to find me on TrackSource. Lee is spelled L-E-A. And or you can find me on Facebook, and my Facebook tag is @Lee'sWorldNYC.
And there you have it. Leah, thank you so much. Can you make some noise for Lee, please?
Thank you, Ronnie.
Thanks, baby.
And thank you, My Soul Radio.